Energy and Environmental Sustainability Commission to order for January 20th, 2021. Could you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, can we have the roll call, please?
Sure. Commissioner Badesha?
Yes.
Great. Commissioner Kong? I don't see her yet. I am expecting her today. Oh, there she is. Oh, she just popped in. Yay. Commissioner Kong?
Here.
Great. Commissioner Liu?
Here.
Great. Chair Martinez is not able to make it today. She had a business conflict. Commissioner Salian is also not able to make it. Commissioner Sexton?
Here.
And Commissioner Shreve has a conflict with the school district. Alternate Commissioner Lingle?
Here.
And we can hear you. Great. Yay. And Councilmember Chua? She's waving. She just is muted.
Nice to see everyone.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So can we go ahead and have our alternate seated?
Yes. Yes. So alternate Commissioner Lingle, you are officially seated for this meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thanks. Okay. All right, let's move on to the approval of the agenda for today. So do I hear a motion to approve the agenda as was delivered to you by email?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner Liu. Do I hear a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Commissioner Kong. Elaine, would you take a roll call vote, please?
Yes. So this is to approve the agenda. Commissioner Badesha? Your vote, please.
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Kong?
Aye.
Commissioner Liu?
Aye.
Commissioner Sexton?
Aye.
And alternate Commissioner Lingle?
Aye.
Great. The agenda has been approved.
And let me I'm sorry, let me apologize for the, I did not change the meeting date on the header for the agenda or in the footer. So my apologies for those typos.
Okay, no problem. We got it figured out. All right. We're on to the approval of the meeting minutes from the January 20th meeting. So last month's meeting. So I hope that you've read through the meeting minutes that were sent out by email. Any comments on those meeting minutes? Do I hear a motion to approve the meeting minutes of last month?
I motion to approve meeting minutes.
Thank you, Commissioner Lingle. Do I hear a second to that motion?
I'll do the second.
Thank you, Commissioner Badesha. All right. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Commissioner Badesha, your vote for the minutes.
Yes. Sorry. I don't know making a difference.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Kong,
Aye.
Commissioner Liu,
Aye.
Commissioner Sexton,
Aye.
and alternate Commissioner Lingle.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Motion carries. And at this time, or is there any member of the public that has joined us in order to make a comment?
Not at this time, but I will let you know.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right, then we're on to announcements. Do we have any announcements? I noticed when I was reading the newsletter from Silicon Valley Clean Energy that I guess it's next week, March 4th, there's an EV ownership virtual workshop that's being offered and that Silicon Valley Clean Energy was promoting. So I don't know if there's a way that we can highlight that from the Silicon Valley Clean Energy newsletter, but thought that it would be something that people might be interested in. It's focused on, the ownership, how to make the ownership make sense financially.
Yeah, we can share that event on Facebook. We tend to share a lot of the SVCE events and rebates and opportunities.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any other announcements?
I have a question for Elaine. Was the alternate commissioner appointed in the city council meeting yesterday? Because I did see it on the agenda. I just wasn't sure if an action was taken.
Yes, I believe the alternate commissioner appointment was approved by the city council yesterday. What's unclear, and we're reaching out to the city clerk to see if the commissioner has been notified and invited to the meeting. So I'm not sure if he was notified of tonight's meeting, and they'll be notified by the city clerk and invited to the next meeting.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Glad to hear that. If there are no other announcements, let's go ahead and move on to the business items for tonight. First up is the Trails, Pedestrian, and Bicycle Master Plan.
Great, good evening, commissioners. I wanted to go ahead and introduce Fanny Yu. She is an associate civil engineer with our engineering department, and I think she's the lead project manager on the Trails, Pedestrian, and Bicycle Master Plan, and she has a presentation for you tonight.
Hello, everybody. Thanks, Elaine. Good evening, fellow commissioners and Councilmember Chua. My name is Fanny Yu. I am an associate civil engineer with the engineering department. I'm also the project manager working on updating the city's Trails, Pedestrian, and Bicycle Master Plan. Thanks for providing this opportunity to present to you an overview of the project as well as the public draft plan itself. Next slide, please. The document will provide support for future improvements so they are more likely to be implemented. It also provides a vision and action plan to improve active transportation such as biking and walking. We also want to show support for connectivity and access to destinations. We also want to integrate trails and biking to and from the new BART station as well as other transit options. And we all want to improve safety and provide comfort and ease to use active transportation for all ages and abilities. Next slide, please. Here are the main contents of the plan. I would like to highlight a few of these in the presentation. Our process started by exploring the existing infrastructure of the city and the existing programs and policies, and then we did an analysis based on where the gaps were and the needs of the community. We then provided a web map for the public to use that offered people to place lines and dots, and we asked them questions like, where are your points of interest? Where are you trying to go? Are there any areas or routes that pose a challenge to you? And then we took all that feedback and analysis and provided recommendations for improvements. And then we went back out to the public to gauge input on whether these are the right types of solutions and how important certain solutions were to them. And from there, we created a list of priority improvements or priority projects, and we discussed potential policies and programs. And then from there, we completed the public draft plan, which is now ready for public review. Next slide, please. As the city continues to grow and new transportation technologies are introduced, we also want to explore how this growth affects our connectivity and our relationship with transportation. Now, the last trails plan and bicycle plan were adopted in 1997 and 2009, respectively. I'm sure many people are aware that a lot has changed since that time, and this is a great opportunity to update these two documents to reflect what is here now. Previously, we were working on these two plans separately, a separate trails plan and a separate bicycle plan. But we soon realized that these two networks, the trails and bicycle, really relied heavily on each other. So we felt it made more sense to combine all of this into one cohesive plan. Next slide, please. In terms of what's new from the previously adopted plans, we have specific considerations for pedestrian network, which is something that wasn't included in either of the previous plans. Now, this will provide a comprehensive consideration for all active modes of transportation. And this plan will also reflect the changing conditions within Milpitas, including population growth, employment opportunities, and the addition of the BART station, as well as other potential regional connections. We did a further analysis of the previously proposed trails that were on the previous plan, and based on the changing conditions and standards, we created a new feasible list of those improvements. We also want to explore bike and scooter share, which has been quickly changing the landscape of readily available transportation throughout the Bay Area. Next slide, please. Now, through the various public engagement efforts, we learned a few key themes. There's limited connectivity in today's active transportation. Many people experience major barriers to travel, such as major roadways like the freeways, Calaveras Boulevard, Montague Expressway, and Great Mall Parkway. With a growing population and increased job opportunities, there's an increasing demand on the transportation system itself. And then with the new BART station, many people are asking, well, how do I get there safely? And then there's also desire for improved safety, increased travel options, and improved connections to destinations. Next slide, please. Now, based on all the feedback we've received from the public, we've developed multiple networks for the trails and bicycles, as well as the pedestrians. Now, this map is the best overview map showing these two networks. The recommendations shown were based on the key themes that I just mentioned earlier. And we try to keep in mind, we're looking for a low stress connected network. How can we help people of all ages and abilities get to where they want to go? We also want to maximize use of existing right-of-way and identify near-term improvements. Now, these types of projects are easier to deliver as opposed to projects that require major reconfigurations or designs of roadways. And then we also have the regional perspective. We want to make connections and continuity with San Jose and Fremont. We also want to enhance multimodal travel opportunities, including connections to transit. Next slide, please. Now, in the plan, we also identify spot improvements as well. Most of these are intersection improvements or trail access improvements. There's a multitude of improvements that you can employ, such as signal timing, upgrading of curb ramps, high visibility crosswalks, green bicycle boxes, trailheads, and wayfinding signs. Now, each of these improvements should be assessed based on each location and the community need, and will need further design in the future. Next slide, please. As mentioned earlier, the bike and scooter share are fairly new to the city of Milpitas. Now, these types of transportations are becoming more popular in metropolitans like San Francisco and New York, and they have quickly found their way throughout the entire Bay Area. In order to prepare Milpitas for these new technologies, we need to prepare a few guidelines that will guide future policies that we might want to implement. The plan offers an opportunity to explore a pilot program, and we've identified a few locations that would be a great start for the pilot. Currently, we're recommending fewer locations for the first year in order to work out any of the kinks of the policy, and it's recommended to reassess and expand the program after 1 year. Next slide, please. Now, the public draft is currently live and available for review and comments. You can see the link provided right there. We'll also provide it through various web posts, social media posts, and pretty much anywhere I can get it to be posted. We'll also have a virtual open house, which will take place on March 24th. And then it'll also provide a condensed version of the plan, so it's a little bit easier to digest all the information. It should be live. It's actually live today, so you can definitely check that out. You can find the link through that link that you see right here. And then you'll also be able to submit questions and answer surveys and polls. And then we'll do our best to answer all the questions at the public meeting on March 24th. And if all goes according to plan, the plan should be ready for adoption in early June of this year. And that concludes my presentation. Does anyone have any questions?
Can you please go back to the slide that has the map? The presentation is really good, but it's also very fast paced. I don't think I had a chance to really digest some of the information. The previous one with the trails. So Do you mind spending maybe a couple of minutes to highlight some of the trails and that is
Sure.
being,
Sure, definitely.
proposed here?
So a lot of the trails that we have right now are like Coyote Creek, Berryessa Creek, and Penitencia Creek. Now, most of these like trail networks, I don't know if you guys have tried going on these trails, but sometimes the trail only exists on one side. And then sometimes it gets hard to cross to the other side unless you go further down the trail and then find out like a street crossing of some kind. So we're looking to, see if there's any way that we can provide trails on both sides of the creek. The biggest hurdle with the trails is, working with the water district because they do have jurisdiction over this land. And we're really looking at like feasibility of these trails. So one of the comments that we heard a lot about were the connections along Dixon Landing and Penitencia Creek. And, they were asking like some people are able to go under the freeway to get to the other side towards McCarthy. Now, it sounds great, in theory, but the thing is like in terms of design and clearance, when it starts to rain and everything, that channel does start to flood and it's not recommended to go under the freeway anyways. So we're looking to make on-street connections. So we're going to recommend that people, get on the street on California Circle, then go up to Dixon Landing. And then we're going to try to figure out what are safe ways for pedestrians to cross over the Dixon Landing Bridge over into the McCarthy side. Did you have any other questions in specifics, like to any types of trails or anything like that? I'm not sure if you want me to cover every single trail.
No, I think just maybe like high level, like what you just described. And between the dotted line and the dotted lines are the proposed new trails, right? Am I
Yes.
reading this correctly?
Yes, it is.
And is it taken in consideration of the feedback from the community as far as, what are the, I guess, routes that are commonly needed? Because I
Yeah.
know that the schools is definitely, a trail that is heavily used by many, many students to get to school. And it seems like from there, some of the schools may not still be covered. I'm not sure if I'm mistaken here, but I do see like a big gap, especially in the southern portion of the city.
Yeah, so one of the things that's
Denver
not
and with-
shown on the map itself is actually the pedestrian network. So the city of Milpitas has a fairly robust sidewalk network already. There's not that many gaps for sidewalks. So we do have a safe routes to school program that we would recommend, which is mentioned in the plan itself. Now, what you're seeing here is a combination of the bicycle network, as well as the trails, right? So obviously not everyone's going to be walking the bicycle network themselves, and they should be relying on both the trail network and the sidewalk network that's currently not shown on this map.
Mhm. Okay, thank you for the clarification.
No problem.
So let's see. If I'm coming from Landis and South Park, Victoria, how do I take my bike to BART? What's the recommended route?
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, what would be your recommended route to get to BART from Landis and South Park, Victoria?
So currently Landis has it's either a bicycle route or there's a class 2 bike lane, but we actually are planning to resurface Landis Avenue in junction with the city of San Jose. And the other thing is when Landis crosses over 680, it becomes Montague Expressway, right? So Montague Expressway is a county roadway. And so they do have jurisdiction of this roadway itself. So it's a little bit more difficult for us to implement any kind of design and construction here without working that out together with them. The great thing is, the great thing about this is, this entire plan, we have worked with different jurisdictions such as the city of Fremont, San Jose, the county itself, and the water district to kind of show that we support these types of projects in these areas so that, if the county decides to do construction on Montague Expressway, we can say, hey, in our plan, we want a class 2 bike lane here, or we want a class 1 bike lane here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is there, so I've taken it. And yes, there's definitely some treacherous spots. So I guess the biggest is that bridge over 680. Is there any plans for refactoring a bike lane or something bigger for bikes on that intersection?
Currently, I'm not aware of any CIP projects that are looking to redo Landis over the 680. I do know that we do have a CIP for Landis near North Park, South Park, Victoria up to Piedmont. That would be something that we have to program to our CIP program.
Commissioner Sexton, Commissioner Liu has his hand raised.
Thank you very much, Linda. Commissioner Liu, first of all, Commissioner Lingle, did you have anything to add to your conversation? Okay, not. So then Commissioner Liu.
Yes. So I think maybe a month back, there was a fatal accident somewhere near Park Victoria. A 7-year-old girl get killed by a car. She was on a bike. Do you have any information on what kind of road she was on when she got hit?
I'm actually not too sure about the accident details itself. I have heard there was a recent fatality, but I'm not exactly sure which area it was. I also heard there was some details regarding the type of driver, and they were, it was like drunk driving. So it's kind of hard for me to say what the cause was exactly. I don't know if it was like reckless driving or if she was not using the bike lane correctly. It's really hard for me to comment on that, unfortunately.
Okay, no problem. So another follow-up other question is, I sometimes bike and I found out sometimes when I'm waiting at the traffic light, I think the traffic light is trying to detect the cars. And then if the cars coming here, they're going to try to turn the light. But if I'm riding a bicycle, I can stay there for minutes, many minutes, and the light is not turning. I'm not sure whether that's particular to me, maybe I was a wrong impression or something. The second question, comment is, in many of the smaller plazas, there's no place where I can lock my bag. Is there something that the city can look into that? I know some big, like Great Mall, they have a bike lock, they have places you can lock your bag, but other smaller plazas, there's no such thing.
Yeah, if someone can scroll down to the next slide real quick. Any chance we can scroll down to the next slide?
So, Rochelle, are you there?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so here's some spot improvements that we were talking about earlier. So in terms of what you're mentioning, the intersection improvements. So again, this would have to be analyzed per intersection. Obviously, it's not, the types of improvements aren't applicable for every single intersection, right? So we want to look at, so there's signalized intersections and there's non-signalized intersections. So one of the improvements that we would recommend is like some kind of bicycle timing included, so that we would install like bicycle detector loops of some kind. And then, so one of the things we can also do is do like the green skip boxes that you can kind of see in the third column on like in the middle. Those would be an option as well. And then in terms of, sorry, what was your second question again?
The question is bike locking places in smaller plazas.
Right. So currently, I know the BART station has some bike lockings like stations already, and one of the spot improvements also identifies, this is some locations that we should consider installing bicycle racks as well.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
So Fanny, for my clarification, are you saying that there are some traffic light intersections right now that a cyclist would not, may not trigger the traffic light in their favor?
So right now, I'm not exactly sure where all the bicycle detector loops are currently. I know that we do plan to install some along Landis with the joint project with San Jose, but that is a recommended improvement that we would want to move forward with if we were doing like resurfacing projects, or if we were doing any more striping types of projects for that area.
Okay, so it's there may be some intersections right now that doesn't have the bike detection loop.
Right, right.
So in a case like that, what is your recommended method for the cyclist to handle that intersection?
So one of the things that we want to emphasize is the 3 E's. We want to encourage education, encouragement, and enforcement. And engineering most of it. So we don't want to over-engineer something, but we also want to encourage people like make smart decisions. Like wear your helmet. These are the recommended routes that you should take. In terms of the intersections, again, that's really going with education and just trying to be street smarts out there.
So would you say that if the light is not turning in favor of a cyclist, then they shift over to become basically a pedestrian and use the pedestrian route to cross?
Yeah, I would have to make that recommendation at this time. That is something we should look into moving forward to do some more bicycle signal timing and then also installing bicycle detector loops. But again, at this time, I don't think they're at every single intersection.
Right, and you know, it'll be a while before that occurs, so it's just good to know that if you're not able to utilize an intersection as a cyclist, then you then become you become a pedestrian basically in order to
Mhm.
utilize that intersection.
Mhm.
Okay. So yeah, we don't want people to cycle into an intersection when the light is not in their favor.
Right.
Okay. Any other comments on this plan? One question, Fanny, is how long do you think it will take to install the improvements?
So all the improvements that we identify, you know, you have to really think of the plan as like a document of support. I really can't say like, you know, this is the timeline for making all these different improvements. They would have to be programmed into our capital improvement program. I mean, there's no, and that would really depend on like, is there available budget?
Okay, so there is no schedule.
There's no schedule.
It's still at the recommendation and phase, and not even at the planning phase yet.
Right, right.
Okay.
Commissioner Sexton, Councilmember Chua has her hand raised.
Okay, great. Councilmember Chu.
I'll let Charles, Commissioner Charles, go first. All the commissioners first before I speak.
Oh, Commissioner Lingle, did you have a question?
I think
It
he's-
doesn't
oh.
seem like, so please go ahead, Councilmember Chua.
Thank you, Acting Chair. Fanny, I wanted to ask this particular question with you because I've seen your presentation several times because I'm on several commissions plus the City Council. And okay, is there a change if I'm at the corner of Jacqueline and North Milpitas Boulevard and I want to go to Great Mall? Is there a change that's going to happen there in the future based on this master plan?
To go to Great Mall, I mean, let me take a look. North Milpitas and Jacqueline towards Great Mall.
Right.
I mean, I would recommend going down South Milpitas at the moment and then using Montague Expressway, probably most likely on the sidewalk since there's no adequate bicycle lane at that moment. But I mean, that would be my recommendation.
Is there going to be a change based on the master plan on this route?
We're looking to maybe widen some of the bicycle lanes along South Milpitas. And again, currently Montague Expressway doesn't have adequate bicycle lanes at the moment. We do recommend a class 1, which is like a protected bike lane almost. But again, I don't know when all these improvements are going to happen.
I understand. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions regarding the Trails, Pedestrian, and Bicycle Master Plan?
I do have a question. So besides the feedback from the community and from different commissions, is there also an alignment with the comprehensive traffic study that the city is currently undertaking? At least that's what I understood, that there's another kind of traffic study going on.
As far as I know, we haven't started the traffic study itself yet. We were hoping to get at least 1 year after the BART station opening, but with COVID happening, there's not a lot of like normal travel patterns at the moment. So we are holding off on that project until normal comes back to us. But in terms of the plan, working with the traffic study, it's not connected right now.
Okay, but following the study that may happen a year out, will there be adjustments into this plan? Because I'm just trying to understand. This master plan is more like a, like a guidance and so on.
Yes.
But okay, Sounds good.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
yeah, like you said, the plan is for guidance. And then when we do the traffic study, and then we'll take that information, the data analysis, and then when we're ready to do individual projects, and if we're looking at a specific segment, we may implement some of that traffic study as well as the plan all together.
Mhm. Thank you.
Okay, sounds great. Well, I do hope that you get a good turnout at the March public meeting and get some good feedback on that, because it's really good to be able to offer our residents a safe and friendly, and, even picturesque, hopefully, walking and biking and hiking routes around the city, so that people don't feel like they have to leave the city in order to get that kind of recreation.
Right, definitely agreed. I also recommend that if you guys have the link, please share it with your friends and family, anybody who's within Milpitas, anyone who works in Milpitas. I'm also doing my best to reach out to employers as well as residents. And I can only go so far. This is your guys' city. You guys live in it, right? So we really rely on your guys' comments to tell us what you're looking for.
So that if we can move to the slide that has that URL again, it's the Milpitas Plan Review altaplanning.site.
Yeah,
Okay.
I will also post it in the chat so everyone can just copy and paste it.
Okay, well, that's not going to help me a whole lot. So anyway, I've written it down.
Okay, great.
Yeah. I have one more question. I finally figured out
Yes.
what was going wrong with my audio. Let's see. Just a real easy one. There are at least 4 classes of bike lanes. Can you explain the difference between Class 2 bike lane and Class 3 bike route?
Yeah, so a class 2 bike lane has like 2 stripes on each end of the bike lane. A class 3 bike route is like they just have the little like bicycle symbol with like arrows on top of them. And the bicycle,
Right.
the main difference is that, a bicycle lane has its own separate lane from the vehicle lane. But then with a bicycle route, it's a shared road with the
There you
vehicle.
go. Wow. Okay. So yes, I was thinking the Class 3 was a better, a wider route, but it's actually just the opposite. It's Class 2 is what you want. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or a Class 1, right? Class 1
Well,
is
it's paved shared though.
Yeah, a class 1 is it's almost like a trail, and it can be totally separate from the roadway. Again, these are all dependent is
Yeah.
there available right of way to make this happen.
I see. Okay. Thank you. By the way, I am looking at your enormous report. It's a great report, by the way. Yeah, I gotta read it.
Thank you. Yes,
Very
please.
nice. Lots of detail.
okay. Any other questions for Fanny before we move on to the next topic? All righty.
I have
Here-
one last comment. I'm
Oh,
so
go
sorry.
ahead, Commissioner Kong, no problem.
I just wanted to, chime in before I forget about this, because I know that you said that you want to have some alignment or continuity with City of Fremont and City of San Jose, and I know that I've been cycling around Fremont quite a bit, and I do notice that their bike lane is painted really bright green. Yeah, it's very visible, and I know that in Milpitas we have a few lanes that have been painted. Are we gonna be able to expect uniformity in terms of the colors that's going to be used between Milpitas and Fremont?
Yeah, I mean that's the ultimate goal. We do want to apply it at all the intersections with signals. Again, it's really based on what the plan is for moving forward with our capital improvement projects, and then is there budget to do all that work.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Fanny, for your report. Appreciate it. And I appreciate all the work that you've done. And hopefully we'll have a budget to implement as many of the recommendations as possible.
Thank you.
All righty, moving on to the next topic. We have our 2021 chair and vice chair selection. So we've actually, I don't think have gone through this particular process before. We actually have, we're normally supposed to have a new chair and vice chair. that serves for one calendar year. So at this time, I would like to hear any nominations for the, let's do the position of chair of the commission first. And please, if you go ahead and nominate yourself, as well as any other person that you think might be willing to serve in this position.
I would like
So-
to nominate Commissioner Sexton for the chair, because I think that she has been an awesome acting chair for the last year. So
Second,
that's my nomination.
Third.
Same here. I like to nominate her as well as chair.
I'd like to nominate Commissioner Ling as vice chair.
Okay, we have a couple of nominations. Do we have any additional nominations? And Elaine, do we go through a roll call vote on each of the nominations?
Yes, first we need to confirm that the nominee is willing to serve. So just to confirm your nomination, and then we need a motion and a second to approve the nomination and selection as chair, then a roll call vote, and then we'll do the same with vice chair.
Okay, thank you for the process. Appreciate it.
Sure.
I guess I appreciate being nominated for the chair, that position, and I accept the nomination. And Commissioner Kong, do you accept the nomination for vice chair that Commissioner Liu made?
Yeah, I accept the nomination.
Okay, great, thank you. So let's go ahead and move on to could I hear a motion for first the 2021 chair for the commission being myself, Commissioner Sexton. Do I hear a motion?
I motion.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Lingle. Do I hear a second for that motion?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Kong. Elaine, would you go ahead and take a roll call vote?
Yes, Commissioner Badesha, your vote, please.
Yes.
Commissioner Kong,
Aye.
Commissioner Liu,
Aye.
Commissioner Sexton,
Well, I'll abstain from this vote.
Commissioner Lingle.
Aye.
Great, thank you. So that passes. Congratulations, new chair, Sexton.
Thank you. I'm honored, and I look forward to serving with everyone, all the other commissioners. At this point, do I hear a motion to nominate Commissioner Kong as vice chair of the commission?
Motion to nominate.
Thank you, Commissioner Liu. Do I hear a second to that?
I second.
Thank you, Commissioner Lingle. The motion has been seconded. Can we have a roll call vote on that, please?
Yes, Commissioner Badesha,
Aye.
Commissioner Kong,
Abstain.
Commissioner Liu,
Aye.
Commissioner Sexton,
Aye.
and Commissioner Lingle.
Aye.
Okay,
Great.
motion passes. I guess we have a new set of chair and co-chair for the year. And everyone else, be thinking about whether for next year you'd like to serve or not, and get ready for that. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to item C, Earth Day planning update.
Great. Good evening, commissioners and Councilmember Chua. I did want to provide a verbal update. We did take all of the ideas and discussion that the commission had last month into consideration. And Linda, Johnny, myself, and some of our other staff in Public Works are working on kind of the backside to coordinate those ideas. That includes, we also actually reached out to some of the other South Bay cities too, like Sunnyvale and Cupertino and Mountain View, and are trying to see if there's any interest in collaborating across the South Bay for some events. Some of the ideas that came out of that group too was maybe doing a youth high school debate across different high schools in different cities related to climate action. So we're following up on that. We are also following up on the suggestion for a video library or some video, curated videos, either from commissioners and or the community to post so that folks can watch sustainability in action from their community members and from their neighbors like you. We're checking in with Recreation. They did something where they hosted community performances for Lunar New Year. So we're reaching out to them to learn how they did that and kind of what they did to screen videos or reach out to get them. So we are making progress on that. And then also looking at coordinating with a potential speaker from the Climate Reality Project to do a Zoom event as well. So we're trying to put together a host of different events and opportunities based on your suggestions. And one of the things I'm recommending at this point is we'll do what we can, and then where there's opportunities for commission members to be actively involved and volunteer, we'll let you guys know, and we'll kind of take the rest of the planning offline, so it's a little bit more timely to do rather than waiting for commission meetings or scheduling and hosting public meetings. So we'll do that, kind of the logistical pieces offline.
Okay, that sounds good. Some of the specifics, do we know if the Community Advisory Commission has set a date for the neighborhood cleanup date yet?
Actually, I don't know. Let me reach out to them. We have been coordinating with Valley Water because usually May is National River Cleanup Day, and we host volunteer creek cleanups. Because of COVID, one of the things they're talking about, they're planning on doing is, and Chair Sexton, you participated last fall, where they're doing every Saturday, encouraging people to go out and pick up litter in their communities. So we're working with them on that. They'll be doing every Saturday in May. And we're talking about doing a kind of a litter pickup kit event where folks can drive through like Public Works to pick up kits around Earth Day to get ready for creek cleanups in May.
Okay, great. I'm glad to hear that May is the chosen month because it's cooler than September or whatever it was last fall. It was really hot.
Yeah, there's usually two volunteer creek cleanup events, one in May, which is National River Cleanup Day, and then one in September, which is Coastal Cleanup Day. So yeah, hopefully we'll be back to live in-person events by fall, but yeah, and then I'll reach out to the Community Advisory Commission to see what they're planning as well for their litter pickup.
Okay, sounds good. And I know that last month Commissioner Lingle asked for a suggested list of hotspots that would need cleanup. So I guess to get that ready, I guess to maybe pass out with the kits.
Kit, yeah.
Yes, that would be great. Was there an answer yet on videos, submitted videos, if there's any sort of waiver or release form that needs to be done for that?
That's what we're coordinating with Recreation on as well to get through all those stages.
Thank you.
Sexton, we do have a raised hand from Mr. Mehta for public comment.
Okay. Let's go ahead and have Mr. Mecca, who has joined us with a public comment, go ahead and speak.
Thank you very much. I think, I wanted to mention to Energy and Environment Sustainability Commission that there has been, since from January 2020 to January 2021, there has been quite a few improvements that has been made with the Energy and Environmental Sustainable Commission. With specific to the South Bay Stakeholders Committee, there are two main projects that have been ongoing. One is the odor sensor project, and another one is the Bay Area Stakeholders Jacobs study, which is being conducted in alliance with the Jacobs Engineering. With respect to it, is important that the Energy and Environment Sustainability Commission participate with respect to both the projects and evaluate that as what data is to be represented as a part to the public, so that they would be aware that since what are the issues that has been, what are the percolating issues and that has been ongoing within the city of Milpitas, what is being expected out of those issues to be resolved, what are the sustainable development energy goals that has been set as per the standard by the United Nations, and as a part of the city of Milpitas, which is becoming a Milpitas metro city, what are the development goals that the city is foreseeing as to become a Milpitas metro city. Now, when we talk about when there is a talk about a city becoming a metro city, certainly there are energy goals that are required to be evaluated, and as well there are other goals as a part of converting the city to run on a solar energy or a wind energy that is to be implemented accordingly as well. Whether the city requires a road that runs on a solar panel or solar cell, that is to be evaluated as well. Currently there are general master plan, there is a task plan, then there is a electric bicycle scooter plan for the advanced traffic management system. There are different plans that has been ongoing as a part of a city development. However, it is important to evaluate that that with the energy and environmental sustainability, that with all those projects ongoing, what is the accomplishment that city of Milpitas is going to foresee, and as well as whether they are going to meet the standards of a sustainable development energy goal or not. Also, it is important to evaluate that along with all the projects, there is a set of reports that is required to be represented to the city, so that everybody can be evaluate that since from 1970. What are the different activities that has been ongoing? What are the trends that has been followed by the city? What are the utilities, water, flood emergency protections plan, insurance plan that has been provided by the city, so that city is being secured? Also, the commission is supposed to work with the Federal Emergency Service, FEMA, in order to provide the right set of education and resource to the citizens of a city. Also, it is important to evaluate that how they implement all these standards, so that people be aware about that what data is to be represented by the city, so that be evaluated on a dashboard on a daily basis.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Mehta. You have certainly covered a lot of questions there. You have touched on projects and different aspects of what the city has done. And I believe that different commissions and different groups are working on those things. It may seem, and it certainly seems to me sometimes, that it's taking a really long time to get enough information together in order to make decisions and move forward. Particularly when it comes to like the one of the first topics that you mentioned, the odor issues that we've had and the various studies going on. So sometimes it does take a lot of patience, and we'd certainly like to see that move forward quickly, as well as things like the reduction in carbon emissions and things like that. My understanding is that from time to time, we do have updates on all those. I think it was just particularly the odor study. I think it was either December or January, we covered that on our agenda. Right, Elena? And I believe coming up, we will be having a review of the GHG inventory.
Yes.
Coming up. So I think that the various items are being worked on. And I do encourage you, Mr. Mehta, to keep in touch with this commission. And you're also, I think, Elaine, is it possible if Mr. Mehta wants to submit his questions by email? Because sometimes with the amount of questions that he brought up, I don't think that we can sort of adequately handle all of those, but certainly we can consider that. And Mr. Mehta, a question for you. Generally, we encourage public comments to, if you can state if you do live in Milpitas or not.
Chair Sexton, I think he can note that for future public comment if he chooses to do so. And I did want to also just remind you that, in speaking under the public forum, if it's not on the agenda, the commission can't take an action, and there is no, need to address everything or add it to the agenda tonight. So
Yes.
we'll take note of the comment, and I encourage the commission to do that as well.
Okay, that sounds good. So we can see if anything needs to be added to future agenda meetings or agendas for future meetings.
Well, one thing I want to say is are we capturing all his questions? I know we're not answering all these, or any way that he can send it to, like she said, there's an email, or staff can provide him email so he can send those and we can take a look in the future.
Yes, Mr. Mehta, you can email me with your public comments and I can forward that over to the commission.
Thank you. That's a good idea. That could definitely help.
Or you can, you can also email Linda Grand, who I think her email is actually on the agenda, but my email is on the city website for the commission as the staff liaison. So my email is available there.
Yes. So Mr. Mehta, there are definitely ways that you can participate and correspond with us as long as it allows us to follow the requirements of having these public commission meetings. So thanks very much. All right, any other?
Sexton, Commissioner Lingle has his hand raised.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Let's see. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Just going back to the Earth Day planning. Let's see, Elaine. I sent you an email asking a couple of questions about whether the city had any possibility of making any kind of announcements in the anniversary of Earth Day. There was some suggestions of increasing our electric fleet. See, I can't recall the others, but there were several, and I'm just wondering, is there any possibility of aligning an announcement of what the city might be doing in honor of Earth Day? Anything like that?
Yes, Commissioner Lingle, I did get your email and am looking into that. I think one of the challenges we have is we're in the middle of updating the climate action plan, and that would be a document where we do set long-term goals. And I don't want to get ahead of that process or of the city council, because they would be the ones kind of weighing in and needing to approve those types of long-term goals. So I'm trying to look into what we can and can't officially announce and what might be or what we can highlight, right? I think we have some good projects coming forward through the Energy and Water Savings Project, where we're highlighting some new retrofits and approved efficiency measures that maybe people aren't that aware of. So we may be able to do some sort of announcements along those lines, and you'll start seeing more information on that coming forward.
All right, thank you.
Great, thank you. Let's see. Trying to think, I'm just looking through the minutes from last meeting to see if there are any other items regarding Earth Day. And I still, Elaine, I still owe you sort of my list of websites and things like that. So, oh, I do have one update. I did start just today, actually, reaching out to some of my neighbors that have electric vehicles. And hopefully I'll be able to have a few short videos, or even if they don't want to do videos, even just a short paragraph on, maybe why they enjoy what they like about their electric vehicle, or any other sustainability topic that we could use as a quote in putting the Earth Day webpage together to show some participation on that. And if anyone is interested in sort of like the wording that I used, because I just basically printed out sort of an invitation to become active or participate in the Earth Day celebration that's coming up. And then I put it in an envelope and stuck it under the windshield wiper of the electric vehicle car to say, please contact me if you're interested in sharing your thoughts about sustainability or driving an electric vehicle. So I'm happy to provide that.
Yeah, I'd like that. I can make the rounds over in my neighborhood as well. Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Elaine, should I send that to you then?
Yes, please.
Okay.
And Commissioner Sexton, on that topic, I know we have talked internally about doing like a Instagram social media type promotion with different actions that residents are taking, and we're staff are looking into how to kind of have a raffle, or looking into how people can just take a photo, use a hashtag to help promote what they are doing. So that is something that Elaine will keep you updated on as we internally figure out.
Okay, that's great. I'm not on Instagram, so I tend not to think about it, but I really am glad. I understand that Instagram is more popular, and actually I'm trying to think whether I should switch over, because I don't want to do Facebook and Instagram. So it's like, do I choose, and should I just get rid of Facebook and only do Instagram? Anyway, I'm trying to make a decision, but I feel that there's just so many social media avenues that it would take way too much of my time to be trying to keep up with all of them. Okay. Oh, actually, I do have a question. This is from last meeting, in terms of the, I think there was going to be the preview site for the, I guess it was the website or the portal that we reviewed last month, and we gave some feedback on. And there
Yes,
was
we're still working on that and updating that.
Okay, so
more recent feedback.
I thought that I might have missed the getting to look at that preview site, so it's still ongoing. Okay, thanks.
Commissioner Sexton, Commissioner Kong has her hand raised.
Okay, thanks. Commissioner Kong?
Yeah, I wanted to maybe bring in the topic of creek cleanup again, because I think Elaine, you spoke briefly about it. There has been actually a lot of reports that I've gotten, personal reports from neighbors and so on, about trash accumulating in some of our waterways. And it seems like there is confusion over whose jurisdiction is it under? Is it really under the city? Is it under the Valley Water, or who it may be? Because there is growing frustration over the amount of trash within our city boundary. And I know that we want to kind of incorporate that into part of the Earth Day events, awareness, as well as some of the environmental events that's coming up, like you mentioned, the creek cleanup. But I think there also needs to be perhaps a discussion. I don't know whether it's in this commission or perhaps in a different commission about the urgency to really start cleaning up our city, because the problem has been growing multifold during the COVID pandemic. I think at least perhaps more people at home, they're more observant about what's happening in the community. And it looks like there might be a lot of dumping grounds. It may be, in fact, turning into illegal dump site. And I wanted to get this feedback from staff if this can be a topic in the future agenda, either in a better suited commission, or does it fit into the environmental commission?
Good evening, everyone. I'll speak briefly about that because I know that we've been working with the city manager's office, and actually Councilmember Chua, who's right here on this same topic. But because I'm on the agenda, I don't want to talk too much about this item. But I do believe that we have our work plan as it's set, and there are certain items that we can bring to the table in response. Just real quickly, response to the responsibility of the cleanup. Everything from the inside of the banks onto the creek line is always the water district's responsibility. So that's just a rule of thumb for folks to just know that if you see anything on the inwards of the bank, that's the water district's responsibility. On the outboard of the levee, that becomes the city's responsibilities. But there are other groups, other commissions that are working on trying to address the cleanup issues. I know our Department of Public Works handles a lot of the cleanup requests that do come through. But there are other groups that are also working and dealing with not just the cleanup issues, but also the homeless aspects that come along with that as well. So I think it's best to kind of let those other groups kind of handle that. And then I know our city manager's office and our council members are also working very diligently on trying to get other agencies to do their fair share of doing cleanups in our city. So just trust that we are making a lot of effort toward that.
Thank you very much, Tony. That's very helpful. So if I understand you right, the where the jurisdiction changes is, say, if you're walking along a creek, when you're on the trail, the flat surface is city maintained, but then where from the bank, when the slope starts to go down towards the waterway, to the water surface, then that becomes the Valley Water jurisdiction?
That is correct.
Okay. Yeah. And so, okay, yeah, sometimes there's a fence there, but then there's a lot of times where there's no fence. So it's only basically the change between flat surface and sloping surface?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. Yes, Commissioner Lingle.
But if we can set things up to give our community a one call to make, would that be with our public works, and then they would actually determine the jurisdiction boundaries and all that, and then make the secondary calls to actually get the problem or the cleanup done? Or would we have to would a citizen need to know, yeah, well, I'm actually on the east side of Piedmont, I know this for a fact, I'm on the east side of Piedmont, and so therefore this is the county that I need to call to actually get a cleanup done on the east side of Piedmont instead of the west side of Piedmont, which is in the city's jurisdiction. Can we just agree that, hey, if you call the city public works, we'll figure that jurisdiction out? Is that possible?
Yes, Commissioner Lingle, that's absolutely possible. We do have folks that staff our lines 7 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock every single day. So we do, and on on numerous occasions help citizens out with that, and also actually inform them when they do call that it's XYZ's jurisdiction, and then we assist with filing a complaint with that proper jurisdiction.
Great, great, perfect.
Great.
All right.
Thank you, Tony. Appreciate that. Okay, any other items regarding Earth Day planning at this point? No? Well, we look forward to, I guess, since the next meeting is in March, right before Earth Day, I think that we'll be sort of getting things wrapped up and ready to get activated at our next meeting, right? Great, thank you, Elaine. Okay, let's move on to city liaison reports. So Council Member Chua, do you have any comments or information to share with us?
Thank
Oh,
you,
sorry.
Chair. Thank you, Chair. And first and foremost, I would like to thank former Chair and also Vice Chair Manfred for their services last year. And congratulations to Chair Sexton and Vice Chair Kong. Thank you for taking this challenge for another year. Thank you so much for your service. Anyway, there is a new commissioner that has been appointed and approved by council last night, and that's Commissioner Richard Admana. And he's an engineer, and he'll tell you about it when he comes on next month. So, and the housing subcommittee task force has been filled, so it's been formed, and also the Measure F Oversight Committee, we have the members, and it will be on the agenda next regular meeting of the council. In terms of we have what's happening. I would like to go. Okay, one of the things that happened last night is we did a survey, and the feedback and the result was presented last night. And one of the takeaways that I like is the top priorities from the residents. The two top priorities are infrastructure maintenance, and number two is public safety. So which is really in line with the feedback that I got from the community. So I was really pleasantly happy about that one. So that is in line with Public Works, and that's in line with your commission, which is good. In terms of, I would like to share something about the cleanup, the homeless site cleanup. It is true, because most of the trash is not in the city properties. It's really either the water district, the Caltrans, and the railroad, Union Pacific. So I'm thinking of actually I'm gonna try to have a meeting. I'm thinking of doing an initiative to consolidate the calls maybe, and like Commissioner Charles said, you have one area, and after this meeting, during this meeting, and when Director Tony was talking, and I said, ooh, that's a good idea. So I think I'm gonna count on Tony and Mike Blue. I'm gonna call a meeting. So that would be good. What I'm trying to do is to have a focal point for all the feedback from the community, go through this portal, and then we can have statistics, and then we can go to our representatives. And actually, like Tony said, I'm working on this actually with Tony and the other departments. And we had a meeting, Mayor Chan and I had a meeting with Assembly Member Lee, and I got a call. I called Senator Wachowski, and City Manager had a good meeting with the Union Pacific, and Mayor Chan has been reaching out to Water District. So we're trying to cover all of that. But it takes time, you know, homelessness is a big issue. We're just trying to focus on one of them, the garbage. So we're working on that. So stay tuned, be patient. Thank you. And I think that's it. And also Elaine is working on the plan, climate change plan, and I think that will be good. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Great. Thank you for your update, Councilmember Chua. I think on Silicon Valley Clean Energy, since you're on the board of directors there, I happened to get a newsletter from them that said that starting next month, they have a high school student scholarship challenge going on. So I hope that our Milpitas high school students will participate, because I think that it's a total of $20,000 they're offering in scholarships for short films on local climate resilience.
Ooh, I
And-
like. Can
Yeah,
you
there's
share me? I mean, can you email me the flyer so I can share it?
I
Oh,
can
there
share
you
that
go.
with you, Councilmember Chua. Yeah, that was going to be one of my announcements. So a couple of things.
Yeah, that would be good.
A couple of things.
Yes. I would like to share something I forgot, because I'm also on the library commission. If you have children, how do I share this, Elaine? I have a flyer. Can I?
Why don't you email to me, Councilmember Chua,
Just
after
now?
this meeting or now, and I can forward it to the commissioners.
Oh, but the timing is tight because it's due. Can I share it here? Do I have sharing capability?
Yes, you do.
Oh, okay, great, perfect. I can do that right now. Give me 10 seconds.
Okay. Elaine, do you want to go ahead and give us your update?
Sure. The couple of things from Silicon Valley Clean Energy that, since you already touched on that, annually they were doing what they called a Bike to the Future challenge. It was their challenge for high schoolers to put together teams to build electric bikes and then race them. And they won scholarships. They had to cancel that one last year because of COVID. And this year, also because of COVID and the ban on events, they did shift and pivot that to this short film competition. And so we'll share that announcement about that competition out to the commissioners, and you can forward it to any of your contacts at school. I tend to also share that with our recreation team, the Youth Advisory Commission, and with I think both Milpitas High School and Calaveras Hills High School had teams that participated in the bike challenge in the past years. And so we'll get that information out. One of the things they were interested in doing was expanding it. So it's not just the kids who were interested in science or technology, but with the film festival, they're also hoping to get folks who are interested in the arts to participate as well.
Yes. That would be great.
And then also for Silicon Valley Clean Energy, they also have a induction cooktop series of events and a $50 rebate if you want to purchase one of the new induction cooktops. So we'll share that information. We've been sharing that on our Facebook page as well.
Yes, I was glad to see, I took a look at the details, and I was glad to see that the $50 rebate also applies to even the portable single the single units. And the pricing on the Silicon Valley Clean Energy's eHub website showed that they were offering some of those at $64. So if you take $50 off of that, you're really only paying $14 for a portable induction cooktop. So I thought that was a good deal.
Good tip. I might have to go buy one now. So then I wanted to also share information on the street sweeping pilot program. I know we provided a presentation to the commission on the program design for that last year, towards the end of last year. I am happy to say that that program will be launching in the targeted neighborhoods on March 1st. Mevan and Alan have been working on outreach. We have had door hangers and postcards have gone out in the targeted neighborhoods, and signage has actually finished being installed today. They're all covered with black garbage bags at the moment, but staff will go through and take the signage, take the bags off to unveil the signage. So we're excited for that program to start and to get some data on how it goes. So far, the feedback has been mostly positive, though we have had some concerns from residents about, specifically in one area, about where they're going to be parking and moving their cars. But we are also, both Alan and Nivan on our Public Works team have been out doing kind of pre-implementation assessments. So they've been going out the last 2 weeks and are going out this week before the street sweeping time in those areas, and counting the cars on the street, assessing how many spaces are available, and also assessing the litter that's out there. So we're gonna think we're gonna have a lot of really good data on how this pilot goes over the next year.
Great, thank you for the update. I'm really excited to hear that program is moving ahead, that pilot program. So thanks.
Yes. And then go ahead, Councilmember Chua.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were done.
I've got one more update, but why don't you go ahead and.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was going to share my screen too, so go ahead with your.
So anyway, this is from the Library Commission, and if you have children in the 6th or 12th grades, please have them join this, participate in this contest, because I would love to have a Milpitas student win this one. So there's like $300, $200, and $100. So there you go.
Okay. Yes.
And I'll give it to Elaine to send to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Chua. Elaine, you were going to share your screen also?
Yes, I have one last announcement to share. And this one actually has to do with bottle and can recycling. I think you commissioners are all aware that with some recent changes, a lot of the redemption. Hi, Councilmember Chua. A lot of the
I can't get out. Okay. It's just the whole thing. Sorry about that. Okay.
I do need you to stop sharing. Can you click?
I know. I'm trying to, but I can't get back to. Hold on. Sorry.
Oh, there you go.
Where did you stop? Did it stop?
Yes.
It did.
Oh, perfect. Oh, thank God. There you go.
Okay.
Thank you.
So with, I think what happened with China's national sword policy and a lot of the restrictions on contaminated recycling overseas, a lot of the bottle and can redemption centers had to close about 1.5 years ago. And we no longer have one in Milpitas, which has been unfortunate. And we've been looking at different ways, and CalRecycle has been looking for different ways to incentivize or even reopen some of these centers. One of the things I worked on a while ago with the county and City of Sunnyvale and City of and City of San Jose was actually a grant for reverse vending machine technology for bottle and can recycling. Unfortunately, we did not get that grant, but the company who is looking at this technology got some funding from a different entity to test these out. And I am happy to say I just learned today that there's one installed at the Safeway on Calaveras Boulevard. It's pretty slick. And I was trying to share my video so you can see it. Hold on, how do I do this?
Elaine, turn it on first and then go do the share. There you go.
So this is what the machine looks like. It's got a smart screen on the front and a QR code. You put the bottles in, and then you get the redemption value on your mobile phone in an app that then can be used to exchange into a gift card. So this is the first one actually in all of the South Bay. They just put it in Safeway and are looking for folks to test it out as they kind of work out the kinks. And then they'll be rolling out about 5 more in San Jose, Sunnyvale, and unincorporated county. So just wanted to share, if you guys happen to have bottles and cans you're looking to recycle, give this machine a test and send me your feedback so I can share it with the manufacturer.
Okay, well, that's great. I'm so glad that there's one in Milpitas. Question, does it take glass bottles or only plastic bottles?
That is a great question. I believe it takes, I know it takes aluminum, plastic. Let me check on glass. I thought it took glass too. And what happens is it does compact all of the containers into like this little cube. And it's kind of interesting because they're using almost like an Uber or a crowdsource app to actually have somebody come empty it and then bring that to a specific facility. So they're also using kind of a crowdsourced way to maintain these and empty them. So it's an interesting concept.
Great, because I could see that these things could fill up quite quickly. So.
Yeah. So there's going to be an indicator of when they get filled, kind of like the new market or niche market for people who take electric scooters, charge them, and then put them back. It's almost the same, where they want people to be notified when it's full and needs to be emptied, collected and brought to the recycling facility. And so hopefully the model works. We'll see.
So for this, the city is not putting money into this product, right? Because I only see that the money losing product.
Well, yeah, there's no city money in this product. We're just trying to encourage people to use it and recycle.
But the California redemption value, we're all paying 5 cents a can, more than we need to in order to actually have it recycled. So does this mean that? This is the only way. This is the one place in Santa Clara that takes cans and plastic, even though
there are still. I think I've seen some redemption centers reopen. So there are redemption centers throughout Santa Clara County, and then Sunnyvale Smart Station will redeem as well. There aren't as many as there used to be.
Okay.
And this is just a different technology that's also funded out of the bottle bill.
Well, again, this is another opportunity, in my opinion. Again, could Milpitas pitch this, our city as a place for, recycling companies? Again, we need innovation for recycling. I was just reading a great article about an Australian company that basically takes any plastic whatsoever and recycles it, refines that plastic, heats it up, refines it, and recovers the actual original oil. 80% of the original oil is recovered. This is just getting started. It is absolutely innovative. And it would be great to, figure out how Milpitas may, play a role in this kind of, resurgence of, manufacturing towards recycling.
Yes, that's a great, Commissioner Lingle. Instead of just being transporting it out of the city, go ahead and make use of those materials inside the city.
Indeed. It does not, we've got to be innovative. Here we are in Silicon Valley. There must be a way. And we ought to be in the game, basically spearheading, again, with Silicon Valley Clean Energy and all of those, their programs to basically innovate, encourage our students and Stanford and, the schools to get in this game and innovate ourselves out of this pollution problem we've got.
Yes, I agree with you. Elaine, I have two other Silicon Valley Clean Energy, I don't know, announcements, if you want to call it that. I read about the rearrange the arrearage management plans. So it's the basically Silicon Valley Clean Energy is looking at doing a energy bill forgiveness program up to $8,000 over the next 12 months per customer. So I think that's, of course you have to qualify for it, and, there's qualifications, but I think that that's a great program for particularly Milpitas residents that may have been laid off during the COVID pandemic and things like that have fallen into arrears with paying their energy bills. And then also, I was very glad to see the SVCE announcement that there's now a joint powers authority that covers 8 of the Bay Area's CCAs. And it actually, it's more than just the Bay Area, because it starts up in Humboldt County and goes all the way down to Santa Barbara County, where it's a total of 140 municipalities have joined the JPA in order to do basically purchasing of clean energy. So they have a lot of, a very large purchasing power. I think it's the announcement said 2.6 million customer accounts and a total of 6.6 million customers. That makes up about 40% of PG&E's electric annual electric load that they have now sort of, all those CCAs have banded together in order to be able to source clean energy. And that's a huge buying power that they've created. So I think it equates to over 32,000 gigawatt hours of energy. So I think that they'll be able to make some really good both negotiations and some funding of clean energy sources there. So it's definitely looking up. So happy to share that with folks to see what we have in the future. Are there any other announcements or reports? Okay, so seeing that there's none, do I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting, because we have come to the end of our agenda?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Commissioner Liu. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Thank you, Commissioner Lingle. So we have a motion to adjourn. Elaine, could you take a roll call vote?
Yes. Commissioner Badesha,
Aye.
Commissioner Kong,
Aye.
Commissioner Liu,
Aye.
Chair Sexton,
Aye.
and Commissioner Lingle.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone. We shared a lot of great information today and look forward to moving on next month and really getting the flow going for all our projects that we have in process. So, and thanks very much, Elaine and Tony and Linda.
Thank you.